All right. Happy Monday morning from the National Weather Service here in Raleigh, North Carolina, with your weekly impact weather briefing lasting from November 19th through November 25th of 2018. If you're joining us after this, I highly recommend you visit weather.gov/Raleigh for the latest weather information. As we all know, weather constantly changes. So if you want the up-to-date information, feel free to visit us on our website or on our social media accounts. All right, let's go on with our weather briefing for today. So early this week, the weather pattern looks pretty quiet. We had a couple of showers, mainly east of Raleigh, but also right over Raleigh this morning that dropped a couple hundredths of an inch of rain, maybe a couple tenths as you approach the 95 corridor. Those have since moved out. We have looking out the window here, we have a nice little mid-level clouds in place that are going to work to try to keep temperatures a bit lower today, but starting off pretty mild, we should get into the upper 50s to low 60s this afternoon across much of the forecast area here in central North Carolina. The early week pattern looks to remain pretty quiet. We do have a cold front that's going to push through overnight tonight into early tomorrow. That could spur a few showers, although we're not looking at much in the way of expected accumulations with this front pushing through. Mainly it's going to kind of displace the air mass we have and allow for a cooler area, a high pressure to settle in. But when it heals, we'll actually have another front that pushes through as high pressure from Canada settles in mid to late week, right over our holiday here, Thanksgiving. And that should actually introduce some really cold temperatures with many of us seeing sub-freezing, maybe even mid-20s by Wednesday night into Thursday, and again Thursday night into Friday with this high really settling south over the area. Late in the week, we finally displaced this pretty quiet weather pattern with a coastal system that's going to work to attempt to push northeast through the Carolinas. Right now, it looks like it's a mostly rain-type system, but we're going to keep a close eye on the placement of this low, as if it ends up being a little bit further south and that cold air is still in place, we could have some issues a little closer to the mountains probably, but right now it's way too early to speculate there. So we'll be keeping a close eye on your late week pattern, and certainly should be a quiet Thanksgiving at least. So severe thunderstorm potential is really low. We'll keep an eye on maybe a thunderstorm, rumble of thunder, as that area low pressure forms and pushes through this weekend. But for the most part, we should remain severe weather free for the next 5 to 7 days. Here's a look at your accumulating precip. Not much over the area, maybe a little bit from today. Not much expected Tuesday, Wednesday, and we start to see some higher values creep in by late Friday over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday, where we could see anywhere from, and this is looking pretty far out, but anywhere from a half inch to maybe upwards of 1.5 inches with this coastal system. But a lot of this is going to have to, we're going to have to watch closely as the next pattern or the next weather system begins to originate and figure out exactly where that low is going to track, because that could show us where the best chance of accumulating precipitation is going to be later in the week. We are still kind of recovering on our area rivers with a lot of the rivers downstream of the major dams and the major lakes reservoirs continuing to release. So the Roanoke River at Roanoke Rapids and near Scotland Neck is expected to maintain minor flood stage for the foreseeable future as they try to bring the lake levels down to a more manageable area. And we're also seeing some height rises expected along the Neuse. The Neuse near Goldsboro remains in moderate, just above moderate flood stage at 20.04. It's not expected to go up much higher than that and should steadily decrease, finally dropping below minor flood stage sometime during the day, early Tuesday or late Monday night. We should see some additional rises at Clayton and Smithfield, but for now, those look to be remaining under flood stage through the period here. And Tarboro is still heading up, as the Tar River at Tarboro there should enter into minor flood stage later this morning and drop below minor flood stage during the day on Tuesday. Taking a look at the tropical, no cyclones are currently expected in the next 5 days. We still have about a week left in a week to 2 weeks left in hurricane season, but right now the pattern looks pretty quiet, at least through the next 5 to 10 days, which is a good thing for us here in central North Carolina. So taking a look at the next 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, really equal chances of above and or below normal for temperatures going forward in the 8 to 14, but it does look like that wet signal is starting to creep back into the area. So we've enjoyed a nice quiet stretch for the last 3 to 4 days. That'll continue for the next 3 or 4 days, but after that, it looks like we could see the wetter than normal pattern showing up once again. So here's your quick summary for the week. Looks like temperatures should be right around the 60-degree mark here in the triangle, with a little bit higher temperatures expected south and east toward the coastal plain, and maybe upper 50s for those north and west across the Triad region. Lows will dip into the 30s primarily all week, with maybe some higher temperatures expected today ahead of that front coming through tonight with a lot of clouds in place, and some cooler temperatures arriving during the day Wednesday and again Thursday, with the coldest temperatures that we've seen, at least over the in the foreseeable future, expected Thursday night on Thanksgiving, with lows around 29 degrees, with even colder temperatures possible across some of the typical colder spots here. Temperatures begin to warm next weekend as that low starts to track through the area, and that's when our precipitation chances once again return. So just a quick summary, rather quiet to begin the week. Dry cold front pushes through on Thanksgiving, keeping temperatures a bit colder. Rivers continue to recede, minus those downstream in the major reservoirs throughout the region, and a more active pattern arrives by next weekend, with tropical and drought conditions not a concern at this time. So we'd like to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, and safe travels if you're heading out the door this week, this holiday season. If you have any questions, please go ahead and fill them in the questions bar, and I'd be happy to take a couple questions here. I'm going to go ahead and mute and stop the recording.